Good morning. How is everyone? Excuse me. I've been praying for sight, wisdom, understanding. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is kind of a channeled thing from Spirit. It was about forgiveness or forgive and free will. There's a saying that only God can forgive. And I think our perception and the words are used against us in many cases. Hi, Deborah. But to forgiveness, or free will. Okay. And the old saying is God is the only one that can forgive. And when we forgive people or actions or someone, it's really not forgiveness. Okay. And I'll explain. Forgive actually means before. Okay. When we forgive in our mind, we're doing it after the fact. What people, I think, understand about the word or the language to forgive, it's a really big thing. In other words, uh, okay, let's go with this. Let's just take Adam and Eve. Okay, sinners, and a lot of people say we are born of sin. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Jen. Anyway, this is a little bit of a channeled kind of download today about forgiveness and free will. Okay, when we talk about Adam and Eve and born in sin, well, we're not born of sin in many cases. In fact, our births were forgiven. We were given by God before, not after. We do not, when we in our mind forgive, it's incorrect because forgive means before the fact. We acknowledge. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're acknowledging it, and I would say that for forgiving, the prefix or the before, the actual meaning means lessons. In other words, a lot of us look at it that our life is already set out by the Creator or God. And what is given is the lessons. That's the forgiven, and it's our life, and that's where free will comes in. Free will is the accumulation of wisdom, if you will. Hi, Nadia. And what they were kind of showing me is this. We use the word wrong. I mean, the forgiven is us. God has given you, and He's also given you a life path that is full of lessons. This is the free will. And at the end of that, as we come through the free will, we gain knowledge, but do we gain wisdom? So one of the things that I they were showing me was uh, about the lessons and kind of the chaos that the little bit of backbiting and snipping that's going on in the communities. We're one of the things, if someone comes to me, I never tell them what to do. Never. I'll try and steer them to a given outcome or what they should be doing, but it's more along the lines of their purpose. I don't tell them what to do. I don't absorb their burden, and I definitely do not take on their burden. When when people decide to give up or throw in the towel. That's okay. Let them. No matter what it is. I mean, we could talk to them as far as, well, why are you giving up? We don't want to influence their choices, free will. But when we say, oh no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're stepping on their free will. Exactly, not your burden to bear. You're stepping on their free will, and you're influencing them. When we do that, we've not just taken on their burden, but the lessons that they were supposed to learn within life have been put off. And in many senses of the word, we think we're helping them, and quite frankly, we're crippling them. We don't understand that. This is what my guides have been showing me. It's okay to walk with someone. It's okay to stand with someone during their burden, during their lesson, if you will, that they're going through. But we're not there to make those decisions for those persons or, quote, assume their burden. You need to do this, you need to do that. Well, if you're not willing to fight, I'm going to fight for you. That's self. That's not just self. That's bang the drum chest. I'm going to fight this battle for you. And quite frankly, I think you've crippled that person that you think you're fighting the battle for. You wanted the battle. You wanted the battle. You wanted the fight. You didn't care what the fight was about or what the battle was about. You just wanted it. That's self. You're not doing it for them. You're hurting them. You've literally hurt them. You've stunted any growth that they are going to, of the lesson they learn. And now what's going to happen? They still need to learn that lesson. It's coming back again, just in a different form. When we forgive, we acknowledge. Okay, we're not. Forgive means before. Okay, we're not forgiving them. We're acknowledging them. We are actually forgiven. These are lessons, and we look at it as a different. And I think the language is used against us. I mean, delivered says nothing but burden. Delivered, in other words, not liberated, not free. When we're listen to the language that's being presented, when we look at these things, it really does come down to giving is actually receiving. If we look at the Jewish word for give, it's actually it's Natan, the same forward as it is backwards. To give is to receive. I forget the name of the word that the name of those words that are the same forward and backward spelling. But yeah, we're there to help people along the way. We're there to let them find their lessons. We're not trying to steer them. We're trying to guide them through their own lesson. It's not our burden. It's not our choice. We're 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 here to help, not to give you the answers. Because if you're given the answers, you do not gain understanding, and you do not gain wisdom because you haven't learned yet. Hi, Terry. I'm sorry, I'm not watching the chat. I apologize. But I've been praying for sight. I've been praying for to to see. In other words, see through all the bullshit, see truth, see God's will, see through everything. But this came up of forgiveness and free will. And, you know, free will is the acknowledgement or what we do and how we face it. Anytime we go through life, it's not the problems that were presented in front of us, whether it's health, whether it's financial, whether it's something else. This has been forgiven to us as a lesson. It was there already, but it's actually a gift. We look at it as a problem. It's lesson learned, and the free will is how we face it. We can either fold like a cheap lawn chair or we can learn from it. Yes, do these burdens suck and these lessons suck without a doubt. But it's something that our contract has to go through. This is something that we've been put here to learn. If we do not understand it, if we do not work within the guise of it, how are we ever going to learn? You know, when we were children and we grew up very poor, we didn't know what poor was. It was just our life. But when we grow up, we realize that money, which is another burden, isn't necessarily the cause of our life. When you're a child, it's like, hey, it's a life. You're learning, playing. You don't know that you're poor unless you were unless you were told continuously, we're poor, we're poor, we're poor. It's no different than your health. If you focus on your health, we've been given these things as a learning lesson. Do they suck? You're goddamn right they do. They do. I'm not gonna lie. There's people in way more shape, worse shape than me, and have basically been given death sentences in many cases. But how do you face it? How do you accept it? Is it God's will? Are you okay with it? You know, we look at this earth all the time. Why? Why do we focus just on here? Why do we translate the lesson into free will and not gain the wisdom? How do we gain the wisdom? By understanding, by looking outside the box from stepping back. But if you're giving people the answers to their problems or pointing the finger of who to blame for them, you already know that. How do you face it? How do you face it? That is freedom, understanding. And no, I'm not putting that word out there to stand under somebody. We stand under God. So when I'm using that term, these are life's lessons that God has forgiven to us. We have to learn these lessons. They have been forgiven. And wisdom comes from understanding and enlightenment, understanding the situation at that point. I just don't understand. You know, in truth, there's many followers, and a lot of times we applaud those that stand up and want to be in the forefront and have the pom poms and cheerleading and everything like that, and we we get into it, we do. But is it your purpose, or is it for the attention? What do you want to be? Ain't that the truth? Really, Jen? But yeah, this whole thing of to forgive is a lesson plan. We've been given these lessons ahead of time. We have to go through these actions. They are predestined in many cases. Um, if we believe in coming back here and learning lessons or coming back here for a purpose. If we let people make the decisions for ourselves, or if we let people fight our battles, we don't win. We start over. It's no different than cutting that person's legs off. If they can't learn the lesson, you have taught them nothing except to sit back. I got this. In some cases, that's appropriate. But when you fight someone's battle just to fight, but you're fighting for them, really? Is that self? Or do you just want the fight? We don't make easy decisions, and I'm guilty of this also. I am. But when I'm helping people, I I won't take their burden on. I will not tell them what to do. I will not give them the answers. I will help them. But it's not cliff notes. You have to figure it all out. But you know, I think there's a lot of people that daily, and I'm guilty of it too. It's how I started. It is, but we're looking for the answers in videos and in our communities where when we have to understand we've already been provided most of these things. If we just understand that the lessons of life that we've had and we've been given, and they're gifts. Are they burdens? Absolutely. But they're gifts because they lead to the wisdom. Not in this lifetime. This is for the afterlife, the next life, and back with our Creator and God. But we can make a difference when we're here. But we're not here to make a difference for someone else. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's what they wanted me to get out. Uh, it's how you face the burden. And when someone tries to fight for you, that can be an act of surrendering. In other words, okay, I can't do it anymore. I understand that. This is not about being sick and giving up on life. Like I just want it to be over with. We can fight in different ways. We don't have to fight with a sword. Some kind of times we can fight with a heart and a smile and an understanding and acceptance. You good for another 3 hours, King? Well, this is me, not showered, nothing. Put my moo on and my cup of coffee, and look at the Mrs. Always Right. I took her cup today, bitch. So, but that's it. I mean, you can agree with it, not agree with it. Like I said, this was kind of a channel meditation, maybe for me, but I figured it was something they wanted to share. And we look at free will as how we make decisions and how we face certain things. But the wisdom comes from the understanding and knowing how to face it, or at least tripping and falling and getting back up. So that's all. Anyway, I love you guys. Take it for what it's worth, and we'll see you again.